Now at 6, a search for answers in Salem after 3 teens are shot in a park, and one of them doesn't survive.
It's something that shouldn't have ever happened in the first place.
Plus, a plan to protect endangered species that could come with a cost.
We anticipate that there will be more mill closures.
Why some say the cutback to logging in state forests goes too far. And
we have an incredible community, we have an incredible fan base, and this team is worth fighting for.
State lawmakers hit a home run for Hillsborough. How soon a new stadium for the Hops could become a reality. And thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Tim Gordon. We start with new information this evening about a deadly shooting in Salem. Police now say all 3 victims were teenage boys, including a 16-year-old who did not survive. Ashley Grams joins us live from Bush's Pasture Park, where several community members are now gathering. Ashley.
Yeah, Tim, just in the last 10 minutes here, we've seen community members show up to this growing memorial, bringing candles and flowers throughout the day. Now we have some faith leaders joining us here, all to memorialize a 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed here yesterday. He was a sophomore at South Salem High School, which is just a few blocks down the road. 3 teenage boys were shot on Thursday afternoon in Bush's Pasture Park in Salem. A day later, the crime tape is gone. A memorial sits in its place. Salem police say 16-year-old Jose Vasquez Valenzuela was killed in the shooting. These pictures are from a GoFundMe that was set up for his family.
But it's something that shouldn't have ever happened in the first place.
Jolene Dyer walks through the park often and says it's not unusual to see teenagers hanging out. Vasquez Valenzuela was a sophomore at South Salem High School.
They will be in the parks and they eat lunch. I mean, they'll take these benches and they'll have lunch.
Police say 2 large groups of teenagers were in the park during the shooting. The 2 other boys who were shot, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, are in the hospital.
I don't feel like that should be happening here or anywhere. I mean, it's by the school and stuff.
The death of Vasquez Valenzuela comes just a day after the city of Salem held a community outreach meeting addressing a rise in violent crime.
The shootings are becoming a little more frequent recently, and it's drawing our attention.
Salem Police Chief Trevor Womack says often young men are involved in these types of crimes. But as for the person who shot Vasquez Valenzuela, they haven't been caught. Police are still investigating.
More and more juveniles are actually committing shootings now in Salem, and it's trending up, so it's definitely concerning.
People here in the park have started to light candles. They're gathering to remember this 16-year-old. Can't imagine how difficult it is for those at South Salem High School. We did reach out to the district, and they said they're providing counseling services for anyone who needs it. Live in Salem, I'm Ashley Grams, KGW News.
So young and so tragic. Ashley, thank you. Well, in tonight's headlines, a federal judge in Spokane has thrown out a lawsuit against Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson. It challenged a gun safety law that went into effect last year. The law opened up gun manufacturers and sellers to legal liability. That means people can sue for damages if their firearms fall into the wrong hands, or can challenge those marketing products that promote the conversion of legal guns into illegal ones. Gun rights groups sued to block the law, saying it will be used to file frivolous claims, driving up liability insurance that could put gun makers and sellers out of business. 4 other states have adopted similar legislation. Well, if you need more of those free COVID tests from the federal government, you'll need to act fast. Today is actually the last day you can request the free tests shipped through the Postal Service. The limit is 4 tests per household. The Biden administration says it has distributed more than 1.8 billion free tests since the program launched more than 2 years ago. The website is covid.org, and you'll need to place your order before midnight. Once the new terminal opens up at PDX, you'll see something familiar beneath your feet. The iconic PDX carpet is returning to some areas. We're talking about the old design here. The Port of Portland says they're getting ready to install it in areas where travelers are sitting and resting, as well as some places where local musicians will play. We love it when the musicians are there. Well, the terminal was slated to reopen by late May, but construction was paused over worker safety concerns in late February. Now we're waiting to hear an updated time frame from port officials.
Well, one thing the Portland airport did today was hit 60 degrees, not for the first time this year, but for the first time this month. 60 there, 61 in Hillsborough, 61 Aurora, 55 in Hood River. The warmest place in Oregon today was the 65 down in Roseburg. So a really nice spring preview all around the state of Oregon today. Tomorrow, it's over. We go back to wet, cool weather for the entire weekend, and we'll have showers and even a thunderstorm is possible. Look at the sunrise and sunset, though. Tomorrow's the last day of standard time. Sunrise at 6:33. On Sunday, of course, it'll be about an hour later. It'll be back to 7:31. We make up that hour by April 10th. So again, sunrise tomorrow, 6:33. Sunrise on April 10th will also be 6:33 as the days continue to get longer after we go back to daylight saving time on Sunday. March 18th, that's another milestone, if you will. That's when we'll have more daylight hours than nighttime hours. And then our first sunrise before 6 a.m. will be at the end of April on the 30th. So a couple of sunrise tracking numbers for you there. Again, rain and mountain snow this weekend, windy as well. We'll talk about that big warm up later, Tim. Back to you.
See you then. Thanks, Matt. Well, Oregon is moving forward with a plan to protect endangered species, though at the same time, the proposal reduces land where lumber mills harvest timber. Thomas Schultz joins us now in the newsroom. And Thomas, what's the reaction to this decision?
Well, Tim, as you would expect, lumber companies are furious by the decision, though not surprised. The Habitat Conservation Plan has been in the works for decades, and it protects nearly 700,000 acres of land for endangered species over the next 70 years. Now, for years, Oregon has been hit with lawsuits which claim the state violated the Federal Endangered Species Act by selling land for logging that was inhabited by endangered species. Now, this plan protects much of that land in the Coast Range, though lumber companies say it reduces their state forest harvest by more than a third. Members of the Board of Forestry push back on those numbers and say it cuts available land by around 20%. Still, everyone realizes the decision will likely lead to jobs lost. Already, Hampton Lumber closed a mill in Banks, Oregon after anticipating passage of the plan. A spokesperson for the company says they expect other companies will likely have to close mills too. And this comes after the timber industry has already been hard hit by 2020 wildfires and an accord with environmentalists to protect species.
It's just another example of an unbalanced decision that seems to be becoming all too common in the state.
We need some protection from the lawsuits that happen.
Because of those lawsuits, Kelly says there really was no choice but to approve the plan now. Lawsuits against the state are currently stayed, but they could resume in 2028. If a new plan wasn't created, board members say a judge could unilaterally make decisions over state forests. Now, this plan is expected to go into effect in late 2024 or early next year.
And that's pretty soon. Thanks,
Yeah.
Thomas. Well, in a consumer alert tonight, Multnomah County health officials warned people today not to eat specific ground cinnamon because it could be contaminated with high levels of lead. Sydney Dorner spoke with those officials today. So, Sydney, what did they tell you?
Well, Tim, Multnomah County Health Department said consumers here in Portland actually have less to worry about when it comes to this recall than people in other areas. They say out of the 6 cinnamon products listed by the FDA to have lead, only 1 was readily available within this county. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is cracking down on cinnamon products they found have high levels of lead. In October 2023, they recalled certain cinnamon applesauces with elevated levels of lead. After taking a closer look at ground cinnamon products sold at discount stores, they found 6 previously on the market also have higher lead content.
Lead doesn't impact us all equally. It is most harmful to very young children. It is most harmful to a pregnant individual who is carrying a developing fetus and that is vulnerable to toxicity that is passed through the maternal blood.
The FDA recommended the voluntary recall of all 6 of these ground cinnamon products shown here. Multnomah County health officials say the biggest concern locally is Supreme Tradition, sold at Dollar Tree.
So at this point, we believe from the initial inquiry that we've been doing that Dollar Tree stores would be the only locations where any of these products could have been sold, and that would be the Superior Tradition product in particular.
This week, the FDA sent a letter to all cinnamon manufacturers and distributors, reminding them they must have controls in place to prevent chemical contamination. They say no illnesses or adverse effects have been reported so far. Multnomah County Health Department still advises those cinnamon products be thrown away and not consumed.
Probably in your spice cabinet from the last time you shopped for ground cinnamon at that location. So I would say the main message for us is to look for it in your own spice cabinet. If you see that you have that particular brand, I would dispose of it.
Now, the Multnomah County Health Department does have a resource for people who have already consumed those contaminated cinnamon products. It's called the Lead Line and can be used by anyone concerned that they recently consumed a product containing lead. You can reach them at 503-988-4000. Tim, back to you.
Important information. Thanks a lot, Sydney. Well, dozens of kids in North Portland are now proud bicycle owners, and all for free. Organizations including Reborn Bikes, Washco Bikes, and Free Bikes for Kids Portland teamed up to give away refurbished like new bikes to 69 lucky kids at James John Elementary. And with those bikes comes a new sense of freedom.
The bike for a kid isn't just a piece of recreation or a piece of transportation. It's actually an expansion of their childhood. It allows them to create new friendships, recreation, riding around with their friends, creates a larger peer group.
In addition to bikes, kids received safety vests, helmets, locks, lights, and even safety training. That was thanks to a $5,000 gift from Metro. Okay, coming up at 6, the short legislative session is a wrap in Salem. What made the cut and the business that was left undone. Plus,
probably the first thought was just utter relief.
why fans of the Hillsboro Hops have something to cheer for many seasons to come. And coming up at 6:30 on The Story, the race for mayor in Portland is well underway now, with 3 current city council members among the top candidates. That includes Commissioner Mingus Mapps, and earlier this week, KGW's Blair Best asked Mapps how he plans to handle the city's homeless crisis.
The metric I'm committed to holding myself accountable to is seeing the absolute number of people who are sleeping on our sidewalks decrease over time. I'd like to see it shrink by at least half in our first 4 years.
Now you can hear the rest of his answer and the full interview tonight at 6:30 on The Story.